Unit 2 Business Planning. The previous unit provided the background on how business ideas are created by the entrepreneur. Business ideas may be feasible, but the business would end up unsuccessful if the enterprise is not properly managed. Thus, it is also the job of entrepreneur to learn the mechanics in planning and managing a business successfully. This unit emphasizes the stages in planning and managing an enterprise. It also discusses the various local and foreign forms of assistance that an entrepreneur can tap in the process of legalizing a business. Unit 2 comprises different lessons, such as Lesson number 1, Stages in Planning and Managing an Enterprise. Lesson number 2, Activities for each stage in planning and managing an enterprise. Lesson number 3, Problems in managing an enterprise. Lesson number 4, Sources of assistance to would-be entrepreneur. Lesson number 5, Specific government programs. Lesson number 6, Simulation in setting up an enterprise. At the end of this unit, you should be able to understand the need for planning and proper management of an enterprise, discuss the stages in planning and managing an enterprise, realize the problems encountered by an entrepreneur, identify the sources of assistance offered by the government to entrepreneurs, describe the features of the major government programs, discuss the process of developing an enterprise, differentiate the three forms of business ownership, enumerate the advantages and disadvantages of each form of business, familiarize themselves with the different government agencies where business are required to register with, enumerate the basic requirements in registering a business. Lesson number 1, Stages in Planning and Managing an Enterprise. Importance of business planning. The following identifies the importance of business planning to the entrepreneur. Number 1, provides direction. The plan provides the entrepreneur a guide to his daily schedule. Further, it provides a checklist of the goals to be attained by the firm and its employees, as well as the ways to attain these goals, the timetable in attaining these goals, and the people that should attain them. For example, if the firm would like to attain a 10 million pesos profit each year, how many years from now can it be achieved? Number 2, eliminates business risk. The planning stage can identify risks that can be avoided before they are made. However, if this risk cannot be avoided, one can at least identify the strategies in confronting this risk. Without planning, this risk cannot be detected. To continue the preceding example, the entrepreneur must ask, what are the risks in attaining the 10 million pesos profit? Number 3, as a controlling measure. Planning provides basis for comparison between the target goals and the actual things that are happening. When comparisons are done, the strength and weaknesses of the firm is or are identified. In this light, corrections can be done before weaknesses get worse. Again, let us continue the preceding example. The 10 million pesos profit may not be achieved in 1 year. However, the entrepreneur must assess constantly, perhaps twice or once a year, whether the efforts are still concerted to that goal. Features of a good plan. After being convinced of the importance of a business plan, you are now prepared to make one. What are the characteristics of a business plan? The author identifies these features are a sale, SAIL. Plans let the firm sail towards the future. What does SAIL stands for? S is specific. A plan must be particular in its undertaking so the employees would clearly know what should be achieved. Broad plans will only lead to confusion since this can be interpreted in various ways. Thus, plans should be quantified in some sort. If plans cannot be measured, how would you know if these were attained or not? An example of a specific and measurable plan is to reduce expenses by 20% to improve profitability, instead of just saying improve the profitability. Another example is increasing the firm's market share by 10%, instead of just saying increasing the market share. There are two features of a specific plan. First, a business plan must indicate the people who are accountable for the plan and who implements them. Second, a business plan must contain the basic business ideas, whether it is related to operating, marketing, financial, or management considerations. A. Attainable. The plan set out must be feasible. If plans are impossible to achieve, then it is not realistic at all. Employees get discouraged and become demotivated workers rather than achievers. As an example, you might want to become the leader in the industry that you are currently in. This is a good plan, but do you think you can do it? Do you have the financial resources, manpower, skills, and other needed factors to accomplish your plan? The plan should include how many measure whether they are met or not. These measures could be in a term of quantity, quality, time, and cost. This will surely help identify whether the one implementing the plans is able to attain what was desired. I. Intelligible. Plans must be clearly understood by those who will implement them. If not, it may lead to several interpretations. Thus, communication is very important in business. Without it, how would the plans clearly and effectively reach out to those people below the organization? A clear statement of objectives is necessary so that those who will be involved in the execution of the plan will understand, believe, and support it. L. Limited time. Plans should have a time period for them to accomplish. Operational plans are short-term plans applicable for a one-year period, while strategic plans are long-term plans ranging from 5 to 10 years. Key activities of a business. A business is always confronted with several activities to perform. These activities are related to production, marketing, organizational, and financial aspect. Number one, production. This refers to aspect related to raw materials, workers, quantity produced. For example, if the business is involved with manufacturing dresses, the company must identify the materials needed to produce dresses. Most likely, it will identify needs such as cloth, buttons, zippers, laces, and the like, and the quantity of dresses that should be produced. It must also need to know how many sewers should be hired. Number two, marketing. This will refer to the areas related to the sale and distribution of the products and services. Should the firm use distributors in selling its products or should it sell the goods directly to consumers? At the same time, this includes the analysis of the opportunities and threats in the market. The firm should know the advantages of the business in the market and the possible problems that the entrepreneur might encounter. Number three, organizational. This is related to the recruitment, selection, and placement of employees. The entrepreneur must identify the skills necessary to achieve the goals of the business. How many workers does the firm need? How much salary do they deserve? What are their specific work functions? Number four, financial. This is related to the management of funds and their disbursement. How much funds are needed? What are the sources of funds? What are the disbursement for? Users of business plans. The users of the business plans are the following. Number one, existing investors or owners. Business plans inform the owners as to what could possibly happen to their investment. This will also guide them whether a higher or a lower rate of return should be expected. At the same time, this will indicate whether or not the existing funds are enough for future plans. Number two, managers. Business plans guide the managers in their day-to-day supervision of the business. This will help them avoid risks and dangers. In the management of the business, this will guide them in a supervising their employees. Number three, potential investors. Prospective investors depend on a business plan as to whether they will invest in the business or not. It also tells them what to expect from the business by informing them where it is heading to. Number four, creditors and potential creditors. Suppliers are often very interested in the plan. Why? It is because they want to know the capacity of the firm to pay its loans. They do not want to lose money. Thus, they have to screen their clients. One device that is used for screening loan applicants is the soundness of the business plan. Number five, existing employees. Business plans provides the employees a sense of security that they are connected with a stable firm with a sense of direction. Aside from this, plans will also guide them in their day-to-day work. The process of strategic planning. What are strategic plans? Who prepares these plans? Strategic plans are long-term plans ranging from 5 to 10 years. These are set by the top administrations. These plans are the basis for short-term or operational plans. The steps in doing strategic plans are the following. Step 1, defining institutional purposes, vision, and mission. What is the purpose of the business? What are its primary and secondary purposes? The purposes of a firm are the reasons for its creation. For example, the primary purpose of a service firm is basically to provide its intended service, while the primary purpose of merchandising and manufacturing firms is to sell. Secondary purposes could be those functions that are inherent to the firm's operations, such as the recruitment of personnel, obtaining loans, acquisitional, and disposal of fixed assets, and the like. What is a vision? A vision is the aspiration and the dream of the business. Organizational mission is the set of strategies to achieve the purpose of vision. Step 2, setting up of organizational goals. Organizational goals could be long-term or short-term. Goals provide performance targets or standards that managers and subordinates have to achieve towards the attainment of the vision. Step 3, formulation of the strategic plan. In developing a strategic plan, managers and teams must consider the firm's SWOT analysis. This analysis identifies the strengths and weaknesses of the organization and the opportunities and posing threats or problems that lie before it. These aspects will provide the firm the basis to ascertain where the firm stands and how far it should go to achieve its objectives. After analyzing these aspects, a firm could establish its strategic plan. SWOT analysis. S. Strengths. These are the internal factors that provide favorable situations to the organization compared to other firms. Examples of strengths are competent manpower, sufficient funds, modern technology. W. Weaknesses. These are internal factors that are considered as the weak points of the business compared to other competitors. Examples of weaknesses are poor product quality, low popularity, high price, weak management, lack of skilled workers, unattractive designs, high cost of production. O. Opportunities. These are potential favors and benefits coming from external factors. Example of these are the increasing demands due to technology or a booming economy and a favorable government policy or support. T. Threats. These are the risks of the business arising from external factors. Example of these risks are the deteriorating supply of raw materials, entrance of new competitors, unfavorable economy, increasing cost of production, expectation of unfavorable government laws, presence of a labor union. Step 4. Approval of strategic plans. Once the strategic plans are formulated, these are then subject to final approval by the board of directors. Step 5. Dissemination of strategic plans. Strategic plans are formulated by the top administration. These directions will now be passed on to the lower hierarchy of the organization until these plans reach the rank and file workers. Step 6. Implementation of the strategic plan. After the approval of the plans, these are now ready for implementation. In the implementation portion, the respective units and individuals accountable for their accomplishment must be identified. Then these people would now start doing the action. Step 7. Evaluation of the strategic plan. The last phase of strategic planning is evaluating the plan itself. The top management must now assess whether the firm has been able to achieve its directions. If not fully achieved, what is the level of achievement? The evaluation phase leads to the identification of actual results and the appraisal as to whether these actual results meet the set expectations. Lesson number 2. Activities for each stage in planning and managing an enterprise. It is necessary for an entrepreneur to understand the stages in planning and managing an enterprise. This lessons focuses on the 6 stages of business planning and the key segments of a business plan. Business planning follows several stages such as the following: objective setting, budgeting, sourcing of funds, drafting of the plans, implementation, evaluation or review. Parts of business plan. What are the parts of a good business plan? The preparation of this part should consider the SAIL or SAIL aspects of plans. The following are the 10 key segments of a business plan. Number 1, cover page. This includes the name of business, names of principals, addresses, and telephone numbers. Number 2, table of contents. The usual table of contents. Number 3, introduction. This introduces the plan of the business goals, and strategies. Number 4, Executive Summary. This provides a brief information about the business, citing the name of the firm, its location, brief description of the project, long-range objectives, project highlights, and the brief findings and conclusions about the project. It is normally 1 to 3 pages long. Here are the guide questions for the executive summary. What is the nature of the project? What are the entrepreneur's competencies and qualifications? What are the project's contributions to the local and national economy? Number 5, organizational and management study. This will include reasons informing the organization, type of organization, organizational structure officers, and the key personnel and project schedule. These are the guidelines or the guide questions to make an organizational and management study. How will the business be managed and operated? What is the business experience and qualifications of the entrepreneur? What pre-operating activities must be undertaken before the business can operate? What pre-operating expenses will be incurred? What fixed assets will be required for the office? What administrative cost will be incurred? Number 6, market study. This provides the data on the description of the market, demand potential, supply aspects, competitive positioning, proposed marketing program, and its projected sales. These are the guide questions. What is the product? How does it compare in quality and price with its competitors? Where will the business be located? What geographical areas will be covered by the project? Within the market area, to whom will the business sell its products? Is it possible to estimate how much of the product is currently being sold? What share or percent of this market can be captured by the business? What is the selling price of the product? How much of the product will be sold? What promotional measures will be used to sell the product? What marketing strategy is needed to ensure that sales forecasts are achieved? How much do you need to promote and distribute your product? Number 7, production. This includes information about the product or services to be produced, the production process, plant size and production schedule, machine and equipment necessary, plant location, building and facilities, raw materials, utilities, waste disposal, and production cost. These are the guide questions. What is the production process? What buildings and machinery, fixed assets, are needed and what will be their cost? What is the useful life of the building and the machinery? What will maintenance be done and are spare parts available locally? When and where can the machinery be obtained? How much capacity will be used? What are the plans for using spare capacity? When and how will the machinery be paid for? Where will the factory be located and how will the factory be arranged? How much raw materials are required? How much will the raw materials cost? What are the sources of raw materials? Are they available throughout the year? How many direct and indirect labor are needed and what skills should they have? What will the what will be the cost of labor? Are workers available throughout the year? If not, what effect will this have on production? How will the workers be motivated? What factory overhead expenses are involved? And what is the production cost per unit? Number 8, financial study. This includes total projects cost, initial capital requirements, pre-operating cash flows, financial projections, and supporting assumptions. These are the guide questions. What is the total capital requirement? Is a loan needed? What will be the equity contribution of the entrepreneur and how much? What security or collateral can be given to the bank? What does the profit and loss statement indicate? What does the cash flow statement indicate? What does the balance sheet indicate? What is the loan repayment schedule? What is the break-even point, or what we call BEP? What is the return of investment, or ROI? Is it or is the project feasible? Number 9, contribution to the Philippine economy. This includes information as to the contribution of the business to the economy of the country. Number 10, exhibits. These are the supporting data of the preceding items, such as personal resumes, job descriptions, letters of intent, copies of leases, contracts, legal documents, and plan location, lot location, and other important documents relevant to the plan.